Gam Ganapataye Namaha. Brahma Muraristripurantakari Bhanushashi Bhumisuto Budhascha Guruscha Shukrashani Rahu Ketava Sarve Graha Shantikara Bhavantu. Good morning. I welcome you all to this first batch of Jataka, Introduction to Vedic Astrology. In this video, I am going to take you through the curriculum plan for the first quarter of this year. And so the focus will be on the months of January, February and March. So this is the overall planner for the quarter, and the image has also been shared to you separately in the group. Let's get into the details of it month-wise. So first we look at the January month, and we have 4 weeks. So the first class, and that is the first week, we will look at an overview of the Vedic astrology and also look at the features which are different between Western and Vedic astrology, and then we'll look at some of the terms used in Vedic astrology. So week 2, the second class, we will start with the most seminal and important work in Vedic astrology, which is the Brihat Parashara Horas Shastra, which is written by sage Parashara. So the content will include the relevant verses for reading and their interpretation, and also the class will be dedicated for doing practical exercises for the topics that have been covered till the previous class. All the content that have been covered will be considered for that. Then week 3, we look at the origins of Vedic astrology and the lineage of sages or rishis who were engaged and contributed various treatises in Vedic astrology. We look at the position of Vedic astrology in terms of the Vedas and the Vedangas, which form the fabric of the Vedic wisdom in ancient Indian Hinduism. And there will be a list of the various treatises that have been written, and it's important to be aware of them. We will not be able to cover even one of them, but they should be used as a reference for future studies and reading. Of course, we are covering Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra. That will be to some extent only possible in this introduction course. And even in the book we refer, we will only cover the important and necessary ones, okay, because the verses are quite large in volume and it's not possible to cover all of them, but it's important to get a taste of this seminal work in Vedic astrology. So week 4 again will be the readings from BPHS, that is Brihat Parashara Hora Shastra, and then it will cover the philosophy behind this Vedic astrology. To some extent you can find that I have included that in the prelude to the Vedic astrology course. Then there will again be exercises. So every alternate week when we have the BPHS versus reading, we will also have dedicated time for doing practice, that is the working on the exercises. Okay, then we'll move to the next month, which is February. And February, the first week will be introduction to the planets, and we cover from Sun to Mars and their nature, the significations and their relationships. Then week 2 will be again BPHS verse reading and then planetary descriptions, which are given in the BPHS, followed by the exercises. Then week 3 we do the rest of the planets from Mercury to Ketu. Then we discuss some of the important things related to the planets, such as positions, elements, the gunas. Then week 4 again we have BPHS reading and the relevant exercises for the topics covered till then. Then we go to March. In March we have 5 weeks, and we begin in the first week with introduction to the signs or the zodiac signs, and we will cover Aries to Cancer, and the qualities of the signs, the relationships in terms of their elements will also be covered. Then it is followed in the week 2 by the BPHS versus reading and also the description for the signs which are given in the BPHS verses, and this is followed by the exercises. Then week 3 we cover the rest of the signs, not rest, the next set of the signs from Leo to Scorpio, and then we discuss about exaltation, debilitation and Mulatrikona signs. Then week 4 again is BPHS versus reading and the exercises. Then the last week of March, week 5, we'll do the remaining signs which are from Sagittarius to Pisces, and then we'll discuss some of the relationships between the signs and also some of the special degrees that are important for planets. So that is an overview of the quarter 1 curriculum we have. Now we'll look at the structure of the classes. So the first class and then the third and fifth, so every alternate will be the concept class, and the second, fourth, sixth and so on will be the practice class. And the structure for concept class is we begin with prayers, then the agenda is covered for the topics and then the concepts that are behind them and the overall principle and the underlying philosophy behind it. And you will fill then the KWL chart for K and W. So K is what I know, W is what I want to know. Then I cover the topics, and these will include some in-text questions. That means while going through it, certain questions will be there, and then also some questions to make you think, and then there will be a mind map in the end to help you recall the things that have been covered. Then you fill the L part of the KWL. L is what I have learned. So KWL, I have shared one sample earlier. I can explain to you again in the first class. Then we will summarize what's been done, and then if you have any questions, we can have a Q&A session, and then the next week agenda will also be shared, followed by the closing prayers for the class. Okay, so the beginning prayers and the closing prayers will always be, they will be recorded only, my recorded version. They will be played in the class. Now we'll look at the practice class format. Again, we have the beginning prayers, then the agenda. So which BPHS chapter and verses that are going to be covered. And then in every practice class, there are three things, three scenarios that you need to work on. One will be, the first one will be based on a recall of the things that have been covered. It could be a selection, not all of them, selection of important ones. Then second will be a scenario where you need to apply what has been taught. And third will be a critical thinking that will need some either deductive or inductive logic that's involved. Then once these are done, you will do a spider chart self-review, and these are based on 5 parameters. So I will explain that in the second class when we do that. I had shared, I think, the basic expectation in the group earlier, but I'll explain it as well when we meet in the second class. Then we'll summarize what's been done, and then Q&A. Then I will assign a homework for you, and you get 2 weeks to do that homework. Then I'll show the next class agenda. This is the next concept class agenda. Then the closing prayers, and we are done. So there is always additional support also will be provided in terms of links, articles for additional reading, and also some of the additional concept videos that I'll make, which may not be shared in the class, but they will help you to understand better. So those links to those will also be shared, and I might even share some external links which are particularly useful. So better to for you to go through that. And of course, these are supplemental. That means if you have time, then you can go through this. It's not a mandatory one. Mandatory would be the content that's given in the class. And regarding the homework corrections, it will be done one-on-one, individual, because each student has have their own pace and level of understanding. So it's better to handle that on a one-to-one basis. Hence, they'll be handled in that manner. So that's about the overview for the curriculum that we have and the structure of the classes. I wish everyone the very best, and really thankful for showing your interest and bestowing the trust in this course, for learning further and enriching yourself not only in this astrology but in your life itself, because astrology will give deep perspective of life, and it's going to be transformative if you can imbibe these insights and implement them as life principles for yourself and for others. So Om Sarve Bhavantu Sukhinah, Sarve Santu Niramayah, Sarve Bhadrani Pashyantu, Ma Kaschid Dukha Bhag Bhavet. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.